Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. Just wanted to let you guys know, in case you were not aware, that due to the overwhelming amount of questions that I've been getting, I've decided to bring back NoDQ&A, the tech series, to go along with NoDQ&A video. Some of your questions will be answered in text format, so there you go. Check it out at NoDQ.com. The first edition is up, and there will be more to come in the future days. With that being said, let's get down to your questions to answer in video today. And just because you use the hashtag please answer in video doesn't guarantee I'm going to answer in video. Alright, this first one comes today from Delts. Silent Rage 74. Hey Aaron, who do you see Randy Orton feuding with when he returns? Could he get into the world title picture right out of the gate? I could see Randy Orton going up against Roman Reigns when he comes back to WWE. That seems to be a money matchup to do at some point. Randy Orton going for the WWE title against Roman Reigns. I would like to see Randy Orton in more of a part-time role at this point. I think you really need to focus on the younger talent and have Randy Orton more like a Brock Lesnar, where he is a special attraction and you have him competing every once in a while, but not on a weekly basis. I think that's the best way to go with Orton. But to answer your question, I could see him going up against Reigns. I could see him going up against Kevin Owens. I think that that would be a really solid upper mid-card feud and a way for Kevin Owens to get elevated by feuding with Orton. I think their matches would be really good. I think there would be a good chemistry between those two. I'm interested in seeing that. And I got this one here from Shyam Rajan. Do you have any idea what WWE will do with Randy Orton after his return? Heavyweight title run or anything else? I do not see Randy Orton becoming WWE champion again. I think that that would be a mistake. I think another possibility for Randy Orton would be for him to go against Brock Lesnar, maybe at SummerSlam. I think that that would be a huge match to do at one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. I think that it would give Randy Orton something meaningful to do without him being in a match against one of the other talents that are on the rise. And that's a dream match too. That's a match that fans have been wanting to see for a long time. Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar, two of the top stars in WWE over the past decade, going at it at SummerSlam. That could be the main event for SummerSlam. That could be a major headline match for WWE during the summer. Alright, this one comes from E-Man. Hey Aaron, how do you feel about WWE crowning its first women's Intercontinental Champion? Please answer in video, more power. I'm not really a fan of another women's title being added. I think if you were going to add another women's title, I would do a women's tag team title, but I really feel there's enough titles already between the WWE World title, the tag team titles, the US title, the IC title, and then the women's title. You got 5 right there. And I think when you have too many championships, it waters down the championships, and it's just too much. It's overkill when you have too many titles. The titles are supposed to be important. Only the most elite hold the championships. But when every other person has a championship, doesn't mean so much. I would be really careful about introducing too many championships. Like I said, if you were going to have another women's championship, do the tag team championship, not another singles championship. Alright, this next one comes from EGS Channel Official. Now that the women's division is back, could you see a woman win a man's title like the IC or US title in tribute to China? I would be really surprised if that happens. I think WWE is really moving away from doing intergender matches. It's been a long time since they've done anything like that. I think Beth Phoenix might have been the last person that was getting involved in matches with men. It hasn't been done in a very long time because I think, in general, the men really don't want to put over the women or sell for them, for that matter. And I can understand that to some degree. With China, I mean, like I said earlier, she was one of a kind. She was an exception to the rule. She was an Amazon. She looked like she could take on anybody, whether it was a woman or a man. And there are very few that could really fill that role. Could Nia Jax do it? Is she a credible opponent for somebody like Sami Zayn? Some would argue yes. I mean, I just personally have mixed feelings about it. And this leads me to my next question, which comes from Seahawk Brohawk. What's your view on intergender wrestling? With WWE signing women like Nia Jax, could we see it happen again in WWE? Again, I think it's unlikely that that happens. I mean, we're seeing it happening in Lucha Underground with a lot of the intergender wrestling. But in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I hope I don't come off as too sexist here, but I find it hard to suspend disbelief, especially when it's a 120-pound woman against a man who's much bigger and muscular. I find it hard to believe that that woman would have any chance. That is just my opinion, and that's why, in general, I'm not a big fan of it. But if there was a woman that looked the part, like Chyna, somebody who was extremely strong and muscular and intimidating looking, then maybe you could pull it off with some exceptions. It's just, in general, I would not put somebody like Sasha Banks in there with AJ Styles or even Sami Zayn or somebody else who's on the smaller side. I would just avoid doing that. I think you have something good the way it is, and I think Lucha Underground is trying too hard to be revolutionary with this intergender wrestling at the cost of there being no suspension of disbelief. But a lot of people like Lucha Underground. It has a huge cult following, so it is what it is. But the question is, will Lucha Underground be able to grow and expand their audience, and is intergender wrestling something that a mainstream audience could really get into? That's a big question mark. Alright, this one comes from Sean T. Flick. I like Aiden English, but Simon Gotch doesn't do it for me. I would have Cesaro take his place. Any thoughts? I think Cesaro being part of the Vaudevillains would be career suicide for Cesaro. Cesaro is red hot right now as a babyface. It would make no sense whatsoever to have him as part of the Vaudevillains. And who knows how long the Vaudevillains are going to have a run in WWE. I mean, right now it's too early to see if they have long-term success. Maybe they will. I seem to have my doubts. My gut feeling is that the Vaudevillains act is going to have a short shelf life. I could be wrong. I'd like to be wrong. I'd like to see this gimmick really catch on with the fans. But right now I feel it's too soon to tell. But until we really know what's going on, there's no need to suggest possible replacements for the team. And especially putting Cesaro in a team that's untested just seems absolutely insane. Alright, this one comes from Hot Rod 276. I recently saw a Nitro episode in 1999 where they showed Sable in the crowd. Was WCW planning to bring her in? From what I recall, she had just shown up there without knowledge of the people in WCW, and when they saw her there, they decided to take advantage of it and show her on live television. But the truth was, during that time, Sable was in the middle of this huge lawsuit with WWE. She wasn't going to be jumping to another company when that lawsuit was still going on. I think it did not even get settled until a year or so afterwards. So she wasn't really in a position to be signing with WCW while she was having her legal battles with WWE. But I'm sure WCW would have loved to have had her join the company when she was red hot coming off of her WWE run. Alright, this one comes from Jishnu. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on Lana saying she would be the greatest woman in WWE and she would leave a huge legacy? She has a very, very long way to go. That is something extremely bold to say, and maybe it'll happen. Never say never, right? But to have one match at WrestleMania and say you're going to be the greatest of all time, you have to put your money where your mouth is. And I think she's going to need years of having memorable matches and putting on great performances to even come close to that. There are just so many women that are further ahead than her. You look at Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and even Charlotte. These women are making history, and one of them, they have a decent chance of one day having a claim to being the greatest woman superstar in WWE history. For Lana, she's got to really go out there and prove it. She's got a lot of work to do. Alright, this one comes from Andrew McManus. What kind of shows that they haven't done yet would you like to see on the WWE Network? I'm not really sure what shows I would be interested in seeing that haven't been done, but I will say this, I would not mind WWE doing a new season of Legends House and making it a little bit more edgier. I would like to see more of the kind of drama that we see on Total Divas on a show like Legends House. The problem with Legends House was that it was just way too calm and no real serious drama. You know, it is a scripted show. All these reality shows are scripted and it's fake drama, but I like to see the drama turned up. I'd like to see a little bit of going off the script and letting these old timers just cut promos on each other, basically. Just let them yell and scream at each other like it's 1980 again, and let them do those 80s style promos where they're just screaming at the top of their lungs at each other and having all these fights and friction, you know, the same way that the Total Divas do on their show. I think that would be very entertaining to see the old timers just doing their old shtick in a reality TV setting. I think that would be very entertaining. I just thought the first seasons of Legends House could have been so much more than it was. Alright, this one comes from Kayfabe Candy Ass. Now that Jericho is the old guy he left WCW because of, do you think that the latest run has jumped the shark and it's time to go? I've been enjoying Chris Jericho's work. I mean, it's not been perfect. I think his matches with AJ could have been better, but I really enjoy his promos. I like the fact that he's doing this whole burying gimmick now, where he's talking about how he's going to bury people. I think it's cool to play off of the internet and try to get the internet fans upset. I think it's great what Jericho's doing, and I do not mind him being around as long as the end result is somebody is getting elevated because of Jericho. If the end result is only helping Jericho, then there's really no point. I do agree with people that say Jericho should be winning matches. He should not be there just to strictly be putting people over constantly. He should be there to win some matches, but then at the end, like I said, the end result being that somebody is in a higher position once their feud with Jericho is over, rather than being down a step on the ladder. Alright, this one comes from NoDQ&A fan. Hey Aaron, when will Samoa Joe be called up, and should he be a face or heel, and who will be his first opponent? I think it's safe to say he'll be in NXT for a while now that he just won the title. I'd like to say SummerSlam, but it might not be until next year. Who knows, they may never bring him up to the main roster. I really hope they do. He should be on the main roster right now. That's my opinion. I think he should come in as a heel. I'd love to see Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. To me, Joe would be one of the most credible guys to go up against Lesnar, and I think the two of them would work really well together, and their styles would mesh well, and it would be a slobber knocker, as JR would put it. I would really love to see that match. And if not Brock Lesnar, then I'd like to see AJ Styles as Samoa Joe's first main roster opponent. Alright, this one comes from Oscar. Does the Anvil have heat with WWE? Seems like Natalya is always having Brett in her corner and not her dad. If they had heat with Jim Neidhart, he would not be on Total Divas. I think it's for two reasons. The first is that he's got some health issues. He's not in the best of shape, and I'm not sure what exactly he could do on a physical level at this stage of the game. Although I'm not really sure what Brett can do at this stage of the game, coming off of this prostate cancer battle. But the other thing is that Brett is a significantly bigger star than Jim Neidhart. So when Bret Hart is announced for being in the corner of Natalya, you know, Bret Hart has the star power and he helps elevate the match. And of course, the real life and storyline feud that's gone on for years between Ric Flair and Bret Hart, you know, that adds more intrigue to the match as well. I mean, Jim Neidhart and Ric Flair doesn't really sound as appealing as potentially seeing a confrontation between Bret Hart and Ric Flair. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already at youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Please continue spreading the word about NoDQ&A video via social media. Word of mouth really does help. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com. I will be having editions of NoDQ&A, the text version on the website, as well as the latest regarding Payback. And on that note, I will see you guys next time.